Goodness with care from our villages. Arokya Milk.
Welcome to episode 5 of Mahabharata with Anuja. It's a pleasure to have you join me today. Now, the Pandavas who just lost Pandu as well as Madri had been escorted back to Hastinapura and placed in the care of Bhishma and Satyavati. Now they say that a lot of the sages had accompanied them there, and there were divine voices heard which proclaimed the Pandavas as the sons of Pandu, and then all the sages who'd come there, they just magically disappeared. I think this was just to make sure that the paternity of the boys was well established, and the queens were very happy. Even Ambika and Ambalika, they were very happy to see the sons of Pandu, and it was also a very tragic occasion because the last rites had to be performed for Pandu and Madri. And Bhishma got together with Vidura, and they gave away lots of charitable gifts, cattle, clothing, food and money for all the poor and needy. And once all the rites had been completed, these boys were welcomed as well as Kunti and made to feel at home in Hastinapura. Now the citizens of Hastinapura, they took to the boys immediately. They loved Yudhishthira and Arjuna and Bhima, the twins. There was a certain something which these boys had. They were very effortlessly charismatic, very good looking, very talented, and they had that ability to inspire the love and affection of everyone who saw them. Now this made Duryodhana very jealous, and it is hard to blame him because while everybody was talking about the divine origins of the Pandavas, they would tell about how Bhima was dropped as a baby and he smashed a boulder, and how flowers were rained down when Arjuna was born. Whereas when it came to Duryodhana, they would tell this very horrible story about how there were ill omens at the time of his birth, that they could hear the donkeys braying, that vultures had gathered in the kingdom, and they could all hear the carrion crows cawing. You know, just a horrible story to tell a boy, and it had been predicted that he will bring ruin to the kingdom, and even Vidura the wise had advised his brother to kill the baby. You know, so when Duryodhana was compared so unfavorably to the Pandavas, it was natural that he took an instant dislike to them, and it didn't help matters that even as children they didn't get along with Bhima. Now Bhima was extraordinarily strong, and he hadn't yet learned how to moderate his strength, so he wound up bullying the Kauravas. He didn't mean any harm according to the poet, but in today's parlance we would say he was a bully. He used to beat up the Kauravas playfully, but of course they didn't think it was funny because they wound up getting hurt. Or when they'd climb up a tree to pluck fruits, he would shake the tree and make them fall. And even worse, when they went swimming, he'll grab them with his arms and he'll dive down, and they'd all come close to drowning. So Bhima was definitely not liked by these brothers. Duryodhana hated the Pandavas in general and Bhima in specific, and even as a young boy he took it too far and he decided that he should somehow kill Bhima. So he hatched a plot with his brother Dushasana, and of course Shakuni helped as always, and then he went to his father and he said, okay, I'm going to arrange water sports for everyone, you give us permission to go there. So they went to the banks of the river, and it was a day of fun and games, and everybody was having a good time. And at that point, Duryodhana personally fed Bhima a lot of delicacies. His appetite was legendary, and Duryodhana would say that glutton will eat everything, including his mother and brothers. So he took a lot of poisoned sweetmeats and he fed it personally to Bhima. And Bhima's strength was so great that he barely felt the poison. He was just a little tired out and passed out unconscious on the banks of the river. And before his brothers could notice, Duryodhana had him bound tightly and he rolled him into the river. Now there were spikes planted there on his instructions to kill Bhima, but fortunately he escaped those. And then all the snakes in the water, they bit him, and this was like an antidote to the poison, so he survived, and he wound up in the underworld kingdom of the Nagas. And once he came to, he started attacking all the snakes, and Vasuki, the serpent king, was summoned. When he came there, fortunately for Bhima, one of his counselors was Aryaka, and Aryaka was related to Kunti. And he said, he's a relative of mine, he's just a young boy, he's been born to achieve great deeds, so let us also help him. And when Bhima told them what had happened, they sensed that an attempt had been made on his life. And since Aryaka appealed to Vasuki, it was decided that he would be allowed to imbibe of an essence concocted by the Nagas. It was a very potent potion, and anyone who drank it would be blessed with the strength of thousands of elephants. And Bhima never did anything sparingly, so he drank barrels full of this potent potion, and his considerable strength was, enhanced further. So he had a good time with the Nagas, and he made his way back slowly to his brothers. And meanwhile, all of them had been very worried, and when he came back and told everything that had happened, Yudhishthira decided perhaps it would be very wise on all their parts to be more careful against the Kauravas. And they were placed under the care of Kripacharya, and he was a very good teacher, but Bhishma wanted to find somebody who would bring out the best in the boys, and he was looking about for a suitable guru. It was at this point that Dronacharya made an entry into their lives. And to tell you about Drona, even his birth was very miraculous. He was conceived in a water pot, and hence the name. He was the son of sage Bharadwaja. And even as a child, he showed a lot of talent, and he was very good at studies as well as weapons lore. Now his father had sent him to the ashram of Guru Agnivesha, and it was there that he met somebody who would have a very important role in his life. It was Drupada, who belonged to the Panchala clan. Now these two were besties, and children, I think we make lots of promises to each other, and the two of them would say best friends forever, and they'd run around like that. And Drupada will always say, half my kingdom is yours. Anytime you come to me, I will give it to you. You're like my brother. And he said all these elaborate things, and Drona would just say, your friendship is more than enough for me. So these two best friends, they completed their training and they went on their separate ways. Drupada to become the king, and Drona continued his studies. He was a big time geek, so he only loved studies and he devoted himself entirely to it. And at that point he was married to Kripacharya's twin sister Kripi. The two of them didn't have much by way of worldly possessions, but they were very happy together. And soon they had a son named Ashwatthama, and he was the apple of Drona's eye, and they were all very happy together. But Kripi, once in a while, she wished that they weren't so poor, because though she didn't mind wearing torn clothes and stuff like that, she wanted to just provide at least basic food and clothing to Ashwatthama. This little kid, they couldn't even afford milk, and they got by eating the barest minimum. And one day some of these older kids, kids can be very cruel at times, and they were making fun of how poverty stricken he was, because he saw them drinking milk and he wanted to know what that was. He didn't even know what milk was. And these boys, they mixed some white powder and water. They gave it to him, and he drank it, and he said, I've also had milk, it's so tasty. And he was dancing, and all the people who'd come there, they said, fie on Drona, shame. He can't provide even basic sustenance for his only son. And this really broke Drona's heart, and he decided to do something to change their situation. He heard that Parashurama was giving away all his worldly possessions, so he went there as a supplicant. And Parashurama said, you're late, I've given away everything. I'll give you a choice though. All I have left is my body and my weapons with the secrets of how to use them. Make your choice. And Drona was very, very pleased to choose the weapons, and this made him the mightiest warrior in the world. And he knew with this kind of, with this kind of resume, he knew he'd get an excellent placing somewhere. So he decided to take the weapons, and he thanked Parashurama and he returned home. And then he thought some more about their living situation, and after careful consideration, he decided to visit Drupada. He remembered all his promise and all. He didn't want half the kingdom, but he just hoped Drupada would welcome him and offer him some position in the court. Now, when he went there, far from receiving a warm reception, Drupada was extremely mean and insulting to him. He said, see, every beggar who comes this side can't claim he's my friend and all. Who knows? I don't remember. Maybe we were friends long ago, but friendship is possible only between equals. I'm a king and you're practically a beggar. It's very, weird that you should come here and act as though I should embrace you as a brother and as a friend. You really should have more sense, you're a man of learning. And Drona said nothing, but he was smarting under the humiliation. And then Drupada calmed down somewhat. He said, okay, let it not be said that I turned away a poor beggar. So he called his guards. He said, give that fellow a nice meal, a hot meal, and give him a change of clothes also, and then send him from here. So Drona thanked him very politely, but he did not accept this charity, and now his heart had hardened considerably towards his former friend, and he thought to himself, you're going to pay for what you did to me today. And Drona left, and he decided his next option was Hastinapura, where his brother-in-law Kripacharya was there. Kripacharya was very, very happy to welcome his twin sister and her husband, and he used to treat Ashwatthama like his own son. So for a brief period, Drona decided to maintain a low profile, and he stayed in Kripacharya's house, but that was destined to change. So on this particular day, the Kaurava princess and the Pandavas, they were playing with a ball, and this ball fell into a well. And all of them gathered around and they were discussing. The Kauravas said, let's do this. The Pandavas said, do this. And they kept arguing back and forth. And Drona came that side. He said, also, you are the famous Kuru princess. Kripacharya is your guru. I heard you all were all very talented, but you all can't even remove a ball from a well. And Duryodhana said, if you are so clever, do it instead of talking. And Yudhishthira was kinder as always. He said, please help us get the ball, and we'll give you a nice meal, we'll give you whatever you want. And Drona just smiled. He said, not only this ball, I will retrieve my ring as well. And he removed this ring, tossed it into the well, and he picked up some blades of grass, and infusing it with the power of mantras, he used them like projectiles, and he threw them into the well one by one, and slowly he lifted out the ball. And then he took out his bow. He asked for these boys to bring a bow and some arrows, and he released an arrow. It went in and came out with his ring, and he put it back on. And the boys were like, wow, you're so good. And they were all like fanboying out there. And they asked, who are you? Tell us who you are. And he said, go to your grandsire Bhishma, tell him what you witnessed, he will know. And when they went to Bhishma, Bhishma was just very, very happy. He personally came out to meet Drona. The two of them spoke for a long time, and Drona told him about the issue he'd had with Drupada. And Bhishma said, the Kuru throne, whatever we have, all our kingdom, our treasury, everything is at your disposal. We will stand by you always. And Drona was very touched because he'd been given so much respect by Bhishma, and he agreed to train these boys. And officially, Bhishma immediately had this massive palace built for Drona, and he also had a schoolyard built there for the boys to train, and all these arrangements were made, and all the princes from neighboring kingdoms came as well. So all these boys gathered in Drona's Gurukula, and once there, when they were all assembled in front of him, Drona thought, okay, I've always wanted to get mighty pupils who'd avenge my insult and bring Drupada before me in chains. It's finally going to happen. He looked at all of them. He said, when your training is complete, I will make sure that you all are the finest warriors this world has seen. But in return, you will have to fulfill what I ask of you. And he said, who will do it? Who promises to do it? Everybody kept silent because everybody knew that sages tended to be a little weird, and what if he asked for something funky like give me your life or something. So everyone just kept silent. Arjuna alone boldly, he stepped forward without hesitation. He said, whatever you want, even if it's my life, I will give it to you. And Drona was very pleased. He embraced this young hero who was so talented, and he said, under my training, you'll become the best the three worlds has ever seen. And Arjuna was happy to hear that, and his training began. And though Drona was an excellent teacher, there's no doubt about it, the thing is, he tended to be very partial to his son Ashwatthama, and he couldn't help noticing that Ashwatthama was Duryodhana's friend, and he knew that at some point in the future there was going to be an ugly clash between the Kauravas and the Pandavas. So he did train Arjuna very well, but he wanted to give his son the edge. So what he would do is every day he'd ask these boys to go fetch water from a lake, and he'll give a wide-brimmed vessel to Ashwatthama. And Arjuna noticed this, okay, because Ashwatthama would get back early and Drona would be giving him valuable nuggets of information. So what Arjuna did was, he didn't get angry with his guru and think, he's being partial and all. He loved Drona too much for that. What he'd do is, he'd use the Varuna missile to fill up his vessel, and he would return at the same time as Ashwatthama, so that he doesn't miss anything. Now Drona also, he could have been irritated because he'd been thwarted, but he liked Arjuna a lot and he loved his dedication, so he decided to let it slide. But on another occasion, he called all the attendants and he said, make sure that Arjuna has never served food when, you know, the lamps aren't lit. And they thought it was very weird. They're like, what sort of instruction is that? But they listened. But on one night I should say, a gust of wind, he came late because he was always the first to train and he'd be the last to leave. So after everybody had eaten, only he came, and they served him, and a lamp had been lit, but a gust of wind blew it out. And Arjuna continued eating. Then he thought he stopped for a minute and he thought, see, it's dark, but you know, I'm just eating. So maybe if I practice my archery skills after sunset, maybe it will enhance my other senses, maybe it will give me an extra edge. And so he started practicing after hours, and he used to have this insane training schedule. Nobody could match him, he'd work that hard. So he's training night after night, and finally Drona heard the twang of his bowstring and he came out. He said, Arjuna, what are you doing? And then Arjuna told him, you know, this is what I'm trying. And once more, Drona couldn't help but be pleased that a student of his caliber had been placed under his charge. So once more he embraced him. He said, you're going to be amazing. And now there's a very famous story about a contest which Drona had. And he'd placed this wooden bird on the branch of a tree, and he made all the boys line up. He said, your target today is to hit the eye of that bird. And now all the princes picked up their bow and arrows and they were ready to do it. He called Yudhishthira first. He said, tell me what you see. Yudhishthira said, I see the trees, I see the sky, I see you, I see my brothers, and he just went on and on. Drona said, step back, you won't hit the target. And this was repeated with everybody, and finally it was Arjuna's turn. And Drona asked him, what do you see? Arjuna said, I see the eye of the bird. And Drona said, shoot. And when Arjuna released his arrow, of course it hit bullseye. And Drona turned to all of them and said, see, you'll always say I'm complimenting Arjuna all the time. Now you know why. And it went on like that, their training. Everybody had various skills. Bhima and Duryodhana were brilliant with the mace. Sahadeva was a skilled swordsman. Yudhishthira was a very good charioteer. Nakula was good with horses. And even Ashwatthama was very good at the esoteric arts. He could counter black magic and things like that. They all had their gifts, but Arjuna was by far and away the best of them. You know, any weapon he picked up, he was brilliant at it. He had a certain natural aptitude and he had that willingness to work hard. So he was the best, and this was demonstrated on another occasion as well. Drona and the boys went for a picnic one day and they were playing in the river. And suddenly a massive crocodile grabbed Drona, okay, and Drona's leg, and Drona could have freed himself. He's Drona, he's brilliant, but he started screaming for help and everybody was paralyzed with fear. They just stood like that, and only Arjuna, you know, faster than thought, he sprang into action. He released 5 arrows, you know, so quick you could barely see it, and you know, they just prized open the jaws of the crocodile, and he jumped in and personally rescued Drona and brought him out. And then once more Drona turned around. He said, see, all my training will be absolutely useless if you don't know how to use your common sense. Only Arjuna has that also. And he blessed him. And they say he taught him how to use the Brahmashra. Now this was a very, very, very deadly missile, and only someone who had the skill as well as a certain moral fiber, only they could use this missile. And on that same day, Ashwatthama was super jealous. He said, why you gave only Arjuna this missile, you have to give me. Now Arjuna had a certain mental discipline which Ashwatthama didn't have, but even so, Drona could never say no to his son, and he taught the Brahmashra missile to Ashwatthama as well. This would have deadly consequences in the future, but I'm not going to talk about it today. There's just one more episode in their childhood which is a very famous story. Everybody talks about it, and basically it's about Ekalavya. Now he was the son of a Nishada chieftain, and he'd come there and he'd begged Drona to accept him as a disciple because he really loved weaponry and he wanted to be a great archer and a warrior. But Drona would have refused to accept him. You know, it was very mean that education was denied to those who belonged to certain sections of society, and Drona said, no, I will not accept you. But he wasn't deterred. He went and he created a clay statue of Drona, and pretending that Drona was giving him instructions, he trained himself to become a great archer. And on one day when the princes had gone hunting with their dogs, they saw that one of the dogs had returned with 5 arrows prising its jaws open. And Arjuna looked at it and he said it takes remarkable skills to be able to do that. And he went immediately and found out everything he could about Eklavya. And he went to Drona and he complained. He said, you promised, you said you would make me the greatest archer, but that fellow is saying you're his guru and he's as good as me. In fact, some of the Kauravas were saying he's even better. And he said, you have to do something about it. So Drona went there and he saw everything Eklavya had done, and he was sorry for what he was about to do, but he hardened his heart. He thought of Drupada and he said, if I am your guru, you owe me a Guru Dakshina. And Eklavya said, whatever you want, I will give it to you. So Drona said, I would like your right thumb. And without hesitation, Eklavya, he used a sharp arrow to sever his thumb and he handed it to Drona. And Drona just took it and walked away. And he went back to practicing with his bow and arrow. He was pretty good, but he would never again be great without his thumb. So when people want to crib about Arjuna, they always tell this story. But I would like to add that he was a young boy, an arrogant little fellow, and so he pulled this little stunt and he hurt someone, but he grew up to be a really nice person. So guys, give it a rest, okay? And I will conclude this episode right here. Hope you liked it. Be sure to hit like, share and subscribe to our channel. And as always, I would love to know what you think about today's episode. Do share your thoughts with me. Thank you so much.
Goodness with care from our villages. Arokya Milk.